So I made a video a while back that I deleted actually for, just for whatever reason. And I said that I wanted to, for the year of 2025, that I wanted to have more self-compassion for myself. I wanted to build more self-compassion. And today I wanted to talk about what I've learned from trying to have more self-compassion. Um, it's been a rocky year for me. I won't lie. It's been a pretty rocky year for me, but I don't want to always just come on here and just talk about how depressed I am, but I wanted to just talk about what I've learned from trying to have more compassion for myself and trying to be kinder to myself. Number one is learning how to not ignore my emotions. Especially in times of stress, I tend to ignore my emotions. I tend to just tell myself I just don't have time. I have too much to do. And sometimes that is valid, but most of the time I wasn't too busy. I wasn't, I wasn't I didn't have too much going on. I was just avoiding. I was just avoiding my emotions. I was avoiding my feelings, my true feelings. And I think just learning how to slow down and just really just process my feelings and really validate my feelings. That's a big part. Your feelings aren't right or wrong. It's just learning how to validate your feelings. I think that's a big thing that I've been trying to learn is learning how to not try to place them in a not trying to justify my emotions, but trying to just listen to myself, validate my emotions. I think that's been a big help for me. And that also helps me regulate my emotions. Instead of always waiting for someone else to validate my feelings, I'm just going to validate my own. And that's been a big help. I also think, this also ties into, as I always do, I think learning part of self-compassion for me is learning how to being honest with myself. I think just being honest with myself. I think it's very easy to just lie to yourself, not in a malicious way. Just it's easy to just justify your own actions, and even lying to others, again, not in a malicious way, but it's to make things go a little bit easier. But I found that learning how to just stop believing my own bullshit, stop believing my own lies, but not in a judgmental way, in a compassionate way, just being honest with myself. And that helps me be more authentic. It helps me be more and it makes me when I'm honest with myself, and when I'm just when I learn to forgive myself, I realize that I am I've always, it's I learned, just learning how to be there for yourself, learning that okay, yeah, I've been lying to myself, but should I feel do I want to feel ashamed? No, let's trying to just be compassionate with yourself and be there for yourself and have empathy for yourself. And yeah, I think, I don't know, I think that's a very helpful tool that I've learned Another thing is learning how to be more vulnerable, learning how to like be, but not in a oversharing type of way, but in a way that presenting yourself in an authentic way that allows you to just be your honest self. That's a big value of mine, is authenticity and vulnerability. When someone's able to be vulnerable, when someone's able to be like honest and but not let and is able to talk about the things that they've been through, but they don't let those things define them. Those are the people that I look for in my life. Yeah, I think learning how to be more vulnerable. I think because those are the people that I gravitate towards. Yeah, I've kind of going on a tangent here, but yeah, that's another thing that I think self-compassion for me is, again, it's just having like empathy for yourself. And the way I have empathy for myself, again, not that easy. Turns out self-compassion, not that easy, at least for me. Because it's not something that is, at least how I grew up, it's not something that's really encouraged. Like self-love, self-compassion, like being there for yourself is not something that is generally encouraged. The thing that's encouraged is being selfless, being, helpful towards others. And that's good, but if you're like me, you were a people pleaser. And being a people pleaser and giving to others in a way that wasn't out of kindness, it wasn't out of like empathy, it was out of just like desperation for other people's approval. And once I learn how to like, I know I'm gonna sound like a broken record because I'm sure I've touched on these topics before. Once I learn how to like forgive myself, and once I learn how to be there for myself, like again, this is all, I've had these things in my mind, because I've been disassociating a lot recently, and I have not been keeping in touch with my emotions recently, and it's been taking a toll on me, and I've been not. And I kind of had to ask myself, like, why am I feeling so miserable? And I would always make the excuses of like, well, I'm just busy, I'm just stressed. And it's like, most oftentimes it's deeper than that, but it's not encouraged. People don't oftentimes want to talk about that kind of stuff. It's not encouraged to talk about these kind of things. Either out of like stigma or like lack of understanding. People don't understand these things. It's like, they don't know how to talk about it. But I've found that like talking about these and but just recently I started to just like talk about these things, and just like I already feel better talking about, like, because I'm being honest with myself. And I think that's such an essential tool in life and for yourself and for personal growth, is having some sense of self-awareness and being honest with yourself. And it's very easy to lie to yourself, to justify your own actions. but being able to like be honest with yourself in a non-judgmental way, I think that shows a lot of self-awareness. And I've been I think the thing that helps me the most is just keeping in touch with myself, being present with myself, and learning how to just be honest, being honest with how I'm feeling, and not caring about whether or not it's going to hurt people's feelings, not caring what other people think. Again, is another, I know I sound like a broken record, but it's another just very helpful tool in like being authentic, and like when you stop caring so much about what other people think and you start just like being honest with how you're feeling, and just like being honest with like who you are as a person, I think is such a it's so helpful. It just like I've learned, I've felt so much better when when I started to just like when I started to realize that it's okay to not be okay. You don't have to put on this front all the time. You don't have to, it's not even about, I don't know, it's just, and that's, again, like going back to the vulnerability part, like that's how you connect with other people. That's how you that's how you truly connect with other people, I think, is learning how to be vulnerable with yourself, learning how to be vulnerable with others, opening up to others. That's how you connect. Is just being honest, being authentic. Those are some of the biggest tools I think that I've learned about self-compassion. Again, I know this video was all over the place. I've had so much on my mind recently, and I just needed to blurt it all out. But yeah. So I'm gonna try and just be more present with myself and more honest with myself, and so should you. It does help. It does help. So I'm gonna go now, but thank you for sticking around and watching me, and I'll see you next one.